Welcome to Topics with Chris D Mack. This week we take you out of the photo studio and we hit the streets of Buffalo, New York as we chat with people about their awareness of breast cancer. Now, this is a sensitive subject for me as the mother of my two sons was diagnosed with breast cancer at age 19. In this video, we have a chat with her as she opens up about her multiple battles with the breast cancer disease. Also, as I mentioned, we chat with residents as we find out what they know about the disease. All this and more coming up right after this. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in today on Topic with Chris D Mack as we dissect the deadly disease breast cancer. Did you know that in 2018 alone, it's projected that 480 men will die from the deadly disease? Well, I didn't know that either, so I wondered how many other people didn't know. So I decided to hit the streets of Buffalo and question them to find out how much do you really know about breast cancer. Let's take a look. Hello, world. You're here with Chris D Mack, and I have my friend here. What's your name, sir?
Mark.
What's your name?
Christina Hearn.
My name is Hope.
What's your name?
Frankie Bazille.
What's your name?
Kanjani Lyons Latimer.
What's your name?
My name is Kenyon Kelly.
What is your name?
Tanya Sapp.
Did you know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
Yes.
Now, how did you know that?
Because my great-grandmother passed away from breast cancer in October.
Well, I just know off of knowledge, and I have a family member that has it.
I just heard it through commercials, through Roswell. Everybody wears pink.
Yes, they always, show that during football season. It's pink everywhere.
I know now. I became aware maybe last year or so.
Kelly, has anyone close to you ever been forced to deal with breast cancer?
Well, actually, I don't know any per se that had breast cancer, but I have someone in my life that had cancer that just passed here recently, which was my father.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Would you like
so
to tell us more?
Well, I mean, it's just, he had prostate cancer, so, that's something that's definitely prominent out there also.
Unfortunately, yes, I have a friend, I have a cousin, I have a couple of close family friends, one of my aunts.
Not my immediate, like my mom or my sisters, but I've had cousins who've had it. I actually have a friend's mom who has it right now. She's dealing with it. And I've seen coworkers that have had it as well.
I have an aunt that died when I was a little kid. She died of breast cancer.
Now, Mark, next question. What effect or life change did this have on you, seeing those two strong women go through this?
Well, I went into foster care after my great-grandmother who raised me, so that was like a traumatic experience. First, knowing that I had someone who was in my life and such a big part of my life and protector of who I am, and then to see her have to go through that and struggle through that and battle with it, and see how strong it made her and how she tried to keep it a secret from everybody in the family was just amazing to see her strength and resiliency through that process.
It brings me awareness because, it runs in my family, so I always want to make sure that I'm checking myself and my family as well.
Great. You heard what she said? Make sure you're checking yourself, ladies.
It just makes me scared for myself. I don't know, breasts are a big part of a woman. Not just her sexuality, but just, that's one way that we're different from males.
It just made me nervous, especially with someone in my family because, it's just something, you don't want to think about your family members dealing with something so severe.
Right.
And, I mean, even with anybody, but it just seems when it hits so close to home like that, it just makes you nervous because it's like, this is something that can happen to me, my mother, my daughter, my sister, anything like that. So it just, it shook me up.
Now, Frankie, how much do you know about breast cancer?
Just the basics, just lumps in your breast. That's basically it. And that, it possibly can get amputated at some point if it starts to progress too much.
I know enough to be informed about what it does to you and the effects that it has on loved ones.
Unfortunately, I'm not very knowledgeable about too much about it.
I know quite a bit. I know that, I should say beforehand, I thought it was only a woman disease, but then I found out later that men can also get it, even though it's...
You heard that? You heard it here first, folks. Not only women can get this disease, us men too. For the next part of this, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. There are multiple choice answers, and just to see how much you do know about breast cancer. All right, the first question, how many women do you think will get breast cancer in their lifetime? Is it A, 1 out of 5, B, 1 out of 8, C, 1 out of 12, or D, 1 out of 15?
I want to say C.
1 out of 12?
12?
Actually, the answer is 1 out of 8.
I'm gonna say B.
B, 1 out of 8, that's correct. If you line up 8 women, you can find out that one of them should be diagnosed with cancer.
1 in 8.
Wow, you got that right.
1 out of 5.
Wow, that's not right, but it's 1 out of 8. It's 1 out of 8.
I would guess about 1 in 8.
Perfect, you got that right on the head.
1 in 12.
You're wrong. When do you think a woman is at greatest risk for developing breast cancer? Is it A, in her 20s, B, in her 30s, C, in her 40s, or D, in her 50s?
I believe A,
In her 20s.
in her 20s.
Incorrect. That would be in her 50s. As the woman gets older, she's more susceptible to developing the disease.
I want to say 30s, but I know it's either 30s or 40s.
I have absolutely no idea. I would say like in her 30s.
In her 40s.
Actually, it's in her 50s. Now, what do you think are the advantages of finding breast cancer in its early stages?
The treatment. Because the earlier you find it, the quicker the treatment will kick in, and
Absolutely.
the better chances of coming up out of it.
You can live. You're gonna live to tell the story. The earlier you find the signs and you're able to deal with it, the less a harsher treatment is gonna be.
The advantage is you might not have to lose a boob,
Might not lose a boob. I like that. No boob loose.
and you might not have to put so many of your family members, to worry about you if you catch it early.
The advantages is a longer life, less suffering.
Right.
Being around for your family more, being around for more holidays. That's the advantages for finding it early.
Right, absolutely.
Not having to get amputations or anything like that. Maybe we can just give it a pill instead of having to do chemo and things of that nature.
I don't know, actually. That's a good question. I'd probably have to find the answer for myself.
Well, I have a few stats right here. When you find it early, you are more likely to be cured and not die from disease, obviously. Treatment is more effective, and the cancer can be treated better. There are more options to treat the disease, and it stops it from spreading. Also, you're more likely to live longer with the increased survival rate. Now, last question for you, Frankie. Which women do you think should attend mammographic screening? Is it A, only women who have no symptoms of breast cancer? B, only women who have symptoms of breast cancer? Or C, it doesn't matter whether women have symptoms or not. They should still go to get a mammographic screening.
I would say C. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
All women have to have a breast exam. Every year, however many times it says that you have to have it, that's the best. Do it, because I'd rather for you to live than be gone, because it's a lot of love here for you.
Right.
C, I believe, because
Ding, 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 ding. Mark finally got one right, people.
It doesn't matter. You need to be checked regardless.
Absolutely. That's great. Now, the last question for you. How confident are you that you would know if there was a change in your breast, which is unusual or normal for you?
How confident am I? I try to do self-exams, but I know there are things that aren't very detectable,
Right.
even doing that. So my confidence level on that is really not that great, unfortunately.
I probably would be confident at this point because I am paying attention, because I am over 40, so it's very important to me, and I do pay attention. So for me, yes, I would notice a difference.
Maybe like 60% confident, because sometimes you're not able to feel lumps. That's why you have to get those screenings, I think. But I try to check pretty often. I try.
Next up, we have a very, very, very special guest. The mother of two sons Graphix herself, the mother of my two sons, is here, and she's ready to tell the world her life-changing story, her battle with the deadly breast cancer disease. Y'all, please clap and show some love and respect for the one of the strongest women I know in my life, the mother of my 2 sons, Nidra McNay. Once again, I want to thank you so much for being with me today. You have a very, very sensitive story, and the world needs to hear it. This is a very sensitive subject because I've been here with you through this journey, and I've seen you go through your ups and downs, and I know a lot more than a lot of people do. So I do know that you were diagnosed at an early age. Is that correct?
Yes, I was. I was 19 years old. I was diagnosed January 25th, 2004. And it was a very difficult time for me back then because I was so young, and I had dealt with this throughout the years with my family, being diagnosed from my grandmother on my mother's side, and 2 of her sisters being diagnosed and them passing away, all 3 of them passing away from it. So it was very difficult. So it's like when I got that news, it was really shocking because I knew something was wrong. And at the time, I had just got married. I was also pregnant with triplets, and when I found out a little while after that, I lost them. And then had to go through chemo, and it was really difficult because I was like really sick. Go through radiation, and especially at an early age, it was just like a whirlwind for me, to be honest. I didn't have much support around that time frame because I was like down south and I was away from my family. So even though I was married during that time, I didn't have that kind of support that I really needed. So I was kind of going through it a little bit alone. I went through remission. I still stayed sick a lot, and they thought everything was in the clear for me. And then after the second time, I ended up going to the hospital, and I ended up finding out that it ended up coming back. It took 9 years for the second time, and they found that in my right breast again, and it came back at full force this time. And at first they thought that I was going to have a lumpectomy, and they were going to take most of my breast out. They ended up just going through chemo and radiation again. They thought again that I was on the clear. 4 years later, I ended up having to go through it again, but this time it ended up traveling into my chest wall, and so ended up from my right breast into my chest. They called it metastatic breast cancer when it travels into another place, and most of it went into my chest wall, and it began to eat away at my chest wall. So I had to again get chemo, and it was a different form of the chemo and a different medications that I had to go through, which made me even more sick than the normal that I had to go through. It really took a lot out of me during that time. I'm in remission again, so I'm not sure on what life would bring this time, but I just hope that this time I just stay I'm just going to stay positive and just hope that it stays gone this time. I hope that God has another plan, and just hope that it stays gone. That's it.
Thought I couldn't breathe without you. I'm inhaling. Thought I couldn't see without you. Perfect
Thank you so much for tuning in to Topics with Chris D Mack. I would like to first thank everyone who participated in the Fight for Life campaign, especially to the mother of two sons, Graphix, Nidra, for sharing her story with the world. Please stay tuned for part 2 of this very special series as Two Sons Graphix presents 25 facts and stats about breast cancer. Last but not least, please remember to like, comment, and share. Please share this video. This message must ring around the world, and I need your help to do so. Until next time, stay awesome and be blessed. I'll holla.
Without your soul, 9 million.